Class 12th, Subject Physics, first chapter, Rotational Dynamics. From this chapter, let us see the moment of inertia as analogous quantity as mass. That is, in case of translational motion, what is the role of the mass? The same role will be possessed by moment of inertia in case of rotational motion. In order to explain this analogy, let us consider a rigid body rotating about an axis of rotation passing through point O with constant angular velocity omega. Let that body is made up of n particles having masses m1, m2, m3, mn lying at the distances r1, r2, r3, rn from the axis of rotation. As the body is rotating with constant angular velocity omega, therefore angular velocity for each particle will be the same, but their linear speed will be different as they are situated at different distances from the axis of rotation, because we know the relation phi is equal to r omega, and therefore though angular velocity is constant, the distances are different, therefore linear speeds will be different for these particles. And therefore let us find first of all the linear velocities of all the particles of that body, and therefore the linear velocity of the first particle of mass m1 will be equal to phi1 equal to r1 omega. For second particle of mass m2, phi2 equal to r2 omega. In the similar manner, the linear speed for the nth particle will be phi1 equal to rn omega. Now, as these particles are having linear velocities, therefore they will possess kinetic energies, and therefore the kinetic energies of all the particles will be calculated, and therefore the kinetic energy of the particle of mass m1 will be given as E1 equal to half m1 phi1 square, that is equal to half m1 r1 square omega square. In this case, phi1 square will be equal to r1 square omega square. Similarly, for all other particles having masses m2, m3 mn, their kinetic energies will be given as, for second particle of mass m2, E2 equal to half m2 r2 square omega square. Then for the nth particle of mass mn, En equal to half mn rn square omega square. Now E1, E2, E3 En are the kinetic energies of all these particles. Hence, the rotational kinetic energy of the body is, the rotational kinetic energy of that body will be equal to the sum of the kinetic energies of all these particles, that is E equal to E1 plus E2 plus En. Now putting the values of all these energies, we will get E equal to half m1 r1 square omega square plus half m2 r2 square omega square plus at last we will get plus half mn rn square omega square. Now taking half omega square common, we can write E equal to half into m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square plus mn rn square into omega square. Now this bracketed term, that is m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square plus mn rn square, is replaced by I, and therefore we will get E equal to half I omega square, where this I bracketed term will give I equal to m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square plus mn rn square, that is nothing but it is equal to summation I takes values from 1 to n mi/ri square, which is nothing but the moment of inertia of that whole body, and therefore we can write E is equal to half I omega square. Now, if you consider the translational kinetic energy, that is when that body is moving with velocity v, then it is given as half m v square. And now in this case, the rotational kinetic energy is given as half I omega square. That means here m is replaced by I and v is replaced by omega, and therefore as the mass plays the role in case of translational motion, the similar role will be shown by this moment of inertia. As mass opposes the translational motion, the moment of inertia will oppose the rotational motion of the body, and hence this quantity is called as the moment of inertia of the body or rotational inertia. Now this expression, that is E equal to half I omega square, we will get for the rotational kinetic energy. Now if the object is having infinite number of particles, if that body is having infinite number of particles, then the moment of inertia of such body will be written as I equal to integration r square dm, where dm is the mass of a small element of that object. That means if that body is having infinite number of particles, then we will have to divide that body into large number of small elements, and if you consider any element of mass dm situated at a distance r from the axis of rotation, then I will be equal to integration r square dm. So I is equal to mr square, that is the moment of inertia is equal to product of mass and the square of distance. That will be the general relation. Now let us see the next quantity related with this moment of inertia, and that is radius of gyration. Radius of gyration denoted by k. So if you consider any rigid body rotating about any axis of rotation, then moment of inertia of that body depends upon the mass of the body and how that mass is distributed from or around the given axis of rotation. The moment of inertia of any object is given as I equal to mk square, where m is the mass of the object. Thus the mass of the body is effectively at a distance k from the axis of rotation, and hence this k is called as radius of gyration. Larger the radius of gyration k, further is the mass distribution from the axis of rotation. So in this case, this k is called as radius of gyration. So the radius of gyration of that rotating body is nothing but it is the distance of a point from the axis of rotation. It is the distance of a point from the axis of rotation at which the whole mass of the body is supposed to be concentrated, that is center of mass, so as to possess same moment of inertia as that of the body. So radius of gyration is defined as the distance of a point from the axis of rotation at which the whole mass of the body can be supposed to be concentrated so as to possess same moment of inertia as that of the body. Now let us consider a disk and ring. So if IR represents the moment of inertia of a uniform ring and ID represents the moment of inertia of the uniform disk. So if you consider these two terms, then the mass of the disk as well as ring will be m and the radius will be equal to r. Then in this case, for the ring, the moment of inertia IR is given as mr square, that is mass into radius square, that will be written as m kr square, where kr is the radius of gyration for that uniform ring. Similarly, for the disk, we can write moment of inertia id equal to half m r square. Again, r will be the radius of that disk. It will be written as m into kd square, where kd represents the radius of gyration for that uniform disk. So from these two equations, we can say that kr will be equal to r and kd equal to r by root 2. So since mr square equal to m kr square, from this relation kr will be equal to r, and from the second relation as half m r square equal to m kd square, therefore kd will be equal to r by root 2. And therefore from these two relations it is clear that the radius of gyration for the disk will be less as compared with the radius of gyration for that ring if both are having same mass and radius.